You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, pet parents. This is Michelle Fern, host of Best Bets for Pets. Now, how many of you have to take your pets in the car sometimes? I bet a lot, because we have vet trips, right? You're not going to believe this product. If you have an animal and you need to transport, even if you don't have an animal and you need to transport some things, this is going to be a great product. Listen, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
PetLife Radio has doggone fur-flying fantastic deals for our listeners. Go to PetcoDeals.com and get $6 off your order of $60 or more and up to 40% off hundreds of items at Petco. PetcoDeals.com. But that's not all.
Are you talking to me?
PetLife Radio listeners, try Audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan free. And get a free audiobook. Choose from over 100,000 titles. To get this great deal, go to audibledeals.com. That's audibledeals.com. The new Dyson Animal Vacs are powerful bagless upright vacuums for homes with pets. Air muscle and radio root cyclone technology generates the strongest suction power to powerfully remove dust, dirt, and pet hair from the home or car. Go to DysonDeals.com. DysonDeals.com to order your Dyson Animal Vac today. Go to PetSmartDeal.com and save up to 30% on awesome gifts for the pets and pet people in your life. Toys, collars, leashes, PetSmart gift cards, treats, and more. Go to PetSmartDeal.com today. PetSmartDeal.com.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, pet parents. Welcome back. I'd like to introduce Joe Volpe. He is the primary patent holder of Car-Dek Inc. Welcome, Joe.
Hello there, Michelle. Glad to be here.
Oh, glad to have you. Now, can you give our listeners just, we'll go into more detail, but a short, description of what is the Car-Dek?
Okay. Well, the Car-Dek is sold under also the name PetDek for the pet industry. We have two names for it. In the golfing industry, so forth, it's the Car-Dek. A very simple description of, think about a picnic cooler lid that's 2 foot by 4 foot approximately. And we're going to lay that across the back seat of a vehicle for a pet or a pet in a cage to sit on, or golf clubs or pizzas or clothes or whatever. We then have to keep it from tilting down into the foot area. So we have two legs up front that they unfold and they go vertical, and they support it from falling into the footwell area. Well, the next problem we had in designing this is pets don't like to be on a slanted surface. So we had to raise the back of it up. So molded in underneath the PetDek are 2 blocks. Well, actually, there's 4 blocks. They raised it 2 inches in the back to take most of the angle out of the back seat. So now we had another parameter. What do you do with this unit that's 2 foot by 4 foot? So we said we have to be able to hinge it. So we created a hinge in the middle of it. So all you do is unfold it, slide it across the seat kind of vertically, drop it down, reach underneath, pull the legs down. The legs are adjustable depending on your seat height. And once you set them for your car, you don't have to touch them again. You can just store them back up in the bottom of it without readjusting. And you basically are done. The only final step is we supply it with a special carpet we had made by a company called Dry-Mate, which is pretty well known in the pet industry. And it's a anti-slide carpet, so it sticks very well to the Car-Dek surface or PetDek surface. You just unroll it, you're done. It literally is 1 minute. And there's a video on the website demonstrating it by my neighbor's next-door daughter. It's very simple to use. It weighs 12 pounds. If you need to pull it out, once again, just fold the legs up, put it vertically, slide it out, fold it, put it in the trunk of the car. When it's stored, it's essentially 2 foot by 2 foot by 4 inches thick and at 12 pounds. It's that simple.
Okay, now, if you were to give a visual of the Car-Dek and PetDek, what comes to my mind, it's almost as if it's like a table with 2 legs.
Yes, technically it's a shelf.
A shelf with 2 legs.
It's a shelf with 2 legs, yes. It's not to be used outside the car. It is not a table. It's strictly for use inside. And the legs, as I said, are adjustable. They're twist locks, so they're real easy to use. And they're made in St. Petersburg, Florida. Everything about the PetDek is made in the United States. We have it molded out in Utah, matter of fact.
Well, that's great. Now, your background, first, I want to talk quickly. Your background is interesting because you used to build race cars, sort of?
Oh, you found that out from the article. I built race engines for Chrysler Corporation. I didn't build them. I was in charge of race engine development back in the 60s for Chrysler Corporation. And I have patents for hot rod exhaust manifolds, intake manifolds and exhaust manifolds, so forth. But I didn't get money for that. That was just part of my engineering job. It was an exciting 5 years of my life.
Now, what made you come up with the idea of the PetDek? Because a lot of dogs and cats do not like the car. Cats mostly, you have a cat carrier, but still, those can move around, as I learned, because my cat adopted us, and when we took him to the Humane Society, he had an accident, which was not pretty, because the cat carrier moved around and scared him. So I guess we were driving to the Humane Society so he could be scanned with our heads out the window. But you developed this product. A lot of animals don't like the car because there is movement.
There's movement on the seat, and the seat has all these lumps and bumps in it as far as the animal's concerned. So they start pacing. It's small. A car seat is only typically 12 to 15 inches in depth. And as you know, the pet's stepping on it, and it gives way, and they don't like that. So we wanted a solid surface. So originally, I did it. I've had dogs all my life, German Shepherds, Labradors. I have Shih Tzu right now. He's barking in the background, matter of fact. And so I put a piece of plywood back there, 2 foot by 4 foot. And then I put 2x4s in the front to keep it from tilting because he was 125 pounds. And then he didn't like being on the sloped surface. He kept trying to claw his way forward. And then my wife, of course, couldn't handle the piece of plywood. And if we went to visit somebody and I needed the back seat, what am I going to do with a piece of plywood? It wouldn't fit in the trunk of the car. So I said, I can solve this. So I started working on it in 2008, matter of fact. Spent 4 years developing this. Started out with folding closet doors, experimenting with those different things, because the hinge part is actually very tricky. It has to be a plastic hinge so it doesn't scratch the seat. You can't have any metal on the bottom. It would damage the car seat. Just like if you slide a pet cage in, the danger is you'll scratch the seat. So a lot of people put a blanket down, and as you know, you're trying to slide it on the blanket, and the blanket's kind of crumpling up and so forth, so on, making it harder to slide. And the footwell area is still there, and so you do a fast stop, and my wife's complaining, why'd you stop so fast? All the stuff's on the floor, including the dog. So the PetDek tends to solve that problem. Okay, we fill up to 100% of that footwell area. It depends on the vehicle, but we say put the passenger seat all the way back, and you'll be pretty well no space left. The driver's seat's got to go wherever the driver needs it. And then we recommend, of course, always safety strapping a pet or even a cage in place. A lot of states now require that. But the idea was to make it very simple. If it wasn't simple, it wasn't going to work. And then we had to set it up. There's things like hammocks out there that hang on the headrests, but the problem is when the dog's moving, the large dog's moving back there, it jerks on the headrest. So it's like being in an airplane where a kid's kicking on the seat behind you. And then the hammocks tend to block the air conditioning vents. A lot of the consoles have the vent there, and so you can't block that. So the PetDek doesn't block that vent.
Now, the PetDek can be used for other things too, because you have the Car-Dek. What are some of the interesting ways people use the Car-Dek? I mean, a lot of my listeners are, pet parents, but some of them are thinking about pets, don't have a pet yet, or in between pets.
Right. Well, my wife and I are semi-retired. We have businesses up in Michigan, so we drive between Sarasota, Florida, and Michigan. And you're always carrying all kind of luggage and gifts with the kids and things like that. And the trunks are only so big. So the PetDek is a shelf back there that fills in that entire area, and you just put your luggage on the shelf, picnic coolers. We always travel with a cooler with some pop in it, that type of thing. If you're going to the cleaners, as we all know, trying to hang clothes on the hooks provided in cars is a joke because they're always sticking out the door when you close the door. But you can just lay the new clothes you pick up horizontally on the seat. A pizza, what do you do with a pizza? You're trying to drive and hold the pizza in the passenger seat. So you just put it back there. Luggage, I've mentioned that already, picnic coolers. You're picking up 25 pounds of dog food. People don't like lifting it over the lip of the trunk into the trunk. A lot of the new cars can't handle 2 sets of golf clubs. You just slide it on the PetDek or Car-Dek in the back seat of the car. Makes it easy. You're not leaning over trying to pull things out of these trunks. The funny one was we just did the Pet Expo show over in Orlando. It was a huge show. I think there was 1,000 vendors at the show, and we were awarded best new invention by a group called Blog Paws out of Pennsylvania. So that was a nice big ribbon on our booth.
Congratulations. That's great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. One of the people who came up to me was a woman who was there with her husband who was in the pet business, and she wanted to buy one at the show. And I said, well, we really don't sell at the show. You're not supposed to. She said, well, I'll be back. So in the last hour of the show, she came up begging me to sell her a PetDek. And I said, well, do you have a large dog? She says, no. She says, I'm in the cake business. I make wedding cakes. I can't put them in the trunk. And my husband built this thing for me in the back seat. It didn't work. The cake slid off and went on the floor. My brand new wedding cake. So she wanted it for her wedding cake business. So, which actually caused me to send out some emails to people in the wedding cake business recently. But that was one of the interesting ones. But people find all sorts of uses for it. Even if you have a car dog seat, which now is supposed to go in the back seat of the cars for safety. I think New Jersey, there's a $140 fine if the dog isn't in the back seat safety lashed, including the pet seats. And so what it does on a pet seat, it raises it up 2 inches at least. So now the dogs can see out the window better. And other people said even their large dogs like it because they can sit on the PetDek and look out the window, and it calms them down. And when they're on that nice surface, they don't tend to pace. They tend to settle down because they're comfortable. And, they feel safer, too, because they're not looking into this footwell area. They don't like that. And we have some pictures on the website, demonstrating that, showing it.
Okay, is there a size limit for the PetDek?
Well, the PetDek it's like Henry Ford, it comes in one model. It's technically 23 inches by 48 inches when unfolded, and it's 2 inches high. And that's all we're producing right now, because that probably fits, according to our measurements of a lot of cars, about 95% of the vehicles out there. We've sold it to people with trucks. We just warn them that a lot of full-size trucks are wider than the PetDek, and they'll have a gap on each end. So they've got to be aware of that. But usually the dog stays on the PetDek anyway because he's very, very comfortable. Is
there a weight limit for the dogs? I mean, obviously you're not going to have an Irish Wolfhound in the back seat of your little Honda. The dog's not going to fit. But is there any sort of weight limit that would affect using it?
We officially say 200 pounds.
Oh, that's plenty. I think that's just about, every dog and a couple of them. Now, where can people find the PetDek and the Car-Dek?
Well, they can buy it right now on our website at PetDek, PetDek.com. And there is a shopping cart in there. There's all sorts of detail on the website. There's a video on the website that they can look at. We now have a contract in the Company of Dogs, and their shipment arrives tomorrow. And it'll be, I believe, on their website and possibly their spring catalog. We also have some other contracts this week we're signing. I can't say who it is. They don't allow me to use their name in any type of advertising or publicity. So it's picking up rapidly. It's anything. We just brought it to market last fall. It's hard getting a new product into a market. Everybody says, oh, another thing to handle. But we're solving a problem that's out there. Matter of fact, we had the show. We had 2 different Japanese companies dealing with distributors. I was a little nervous they were trying to knock it off, but they assured me, no. People want American products, in Japan. It's a status symbol. So they were fascinated by the engineering in it and all, because it looks very simple. It took a lot of years to perfect it, and it's made in the U.S. by one of the largest plastic companies in the country. It sells for $129.95 is the recommended retail price. That's what's on the website.
I would think just tearing your nice leather seat and repairing it would cost about that much, if not more.
Yes, or one trip to the vet because your dog got hurt, falling off the seat.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yes. That's probably one of the main things. And yes, certainly we protect the seat, okay? It's interesting to watch the dogs because they kind of take a look at it and they leap right onto it. And it just happened the other day. A lady was surprised she wanted for her Shih Tzu, and the Shih Tzu just jumped off the ground, onto the car seat, which amazed me. They could get up that high, but he did. And you'll see on the website there's some pretty large dog that we had on there. It was the photographer's dog. He had trouble staying awake. He was so comfortable on it. But it makes it easy. And of course, one of the problems is if without a PetDek back there, if you stop and the dog falls off, the dog back there is yelping, you're involved in traffic, you're distracted trying to reach back and get the dog back out of the footwell. So it's an accident waiting to happen.
No, it's a much better idea. And definitely, I know dogs, I mean, that's one reason why whenever dogs are getting sick, for some reason, it's always on carpet. If there's carpet available, they like traction. Even though a tile or wood floor is not moving, they like the traction of a carpet or something, solid to be on, and I'm sure this, the PetDek also helps with dogs not getting car sick.
Yeah, one of my customers told me that his dog would always get car sick, and he put him on the PetDek now, and the dog no longer gets car sick. It can see out the window. It seems to calm him down. You can also have a water bowl back there. They have kind of like these non-spill type water bowls. You can just put one of those on the PetDek for him to use, that type of thing. But it really, truly is a very calming effect. It's interesting to watch the dogs. And my neighbor has 2 Australian shepherds, I think they're called, kind of tailless things, and they are hyper.
Yeah.
But they tend to calm right down.
Well, it's a great product. Is there anything that you didn't mention or that I didn't ask that you want to add?
No, not really. We do say from a safety standpoint, do not put a child's car seat on it. And that's not us. That's the manufacturers of the car seats. That's in their warning. Okay? And I want to emphasize that we always recommend the dog be safety latched in the back. You can easily get at the seat belts or the rear headrest. We don't block those at all. And so it's so simple to use. And it's the old story. Sometimes we go out to meet friends and we forget that it's in the back seat. It just takes 1 minute to pull it out and put it in the trunk. So it's very convenient, unlike trying to undo straps and deal with dog blankets and so forth and so on, and getting, at the same time, covered with hair.
Yeah, and they say that the best products are the simplest. And
yes.
When you look at the Car-Dek/PetDek, it's a very simple product, but you can see, like you were mentioning earlier, all the small details that went into perfect it. And it's just such a great idea. It's one of those, why didn't I think about that? But it's a great idea. It's wonderful that it's made in USA. We can always use more products made in USA, especially a great product like this. And our listeners can find it there'll be information in the segment section of this episode, along with a picture and a link to the PetDek. You can also find more on www.petdek.com.
Yes, and they can email me. I don't put our phone number there, but they can email. I get emails all the time asking questions about, will it fit in this car? How about this problem? So forth, so on. Be happy to answer any questions, about it. We guarantee it against manufacturing flaws for life. It's a top quality product. We've frozen it, we've baked it, we've run it through I don't know how many cycles, and the company that makes it for us has a very careful quality control, and so we're very pleased with the way it's going. And by the way, a lot of people have tried to solve this problem. I discovered that when I went through doing the patent searches. But no one's been able to perfect it. They came up with ideas that were just completely impractical and couldn't be made for a reasonable cost.
Wait a second, Joe. You said no one's been able to perfect it. I think you have, because the product is great and seems pretty flawless. So it's just a wonderful idea.
Thank you. Yeah, we had very, very good feedback from the show. Everybody loved it. And, of course, it was kind of funny because I would just say, I just need 1 minute of your time to demonstrate it. I do a 1 minute demonstration and say, I'm done. Bring out your checkbook. We're all ready to go.
That's great. Joe, I just want to thank you so much for coming on Best Bets for Pets and telling my listeners all about the wonderful PetDek/Car-Dek, what a great product it is. And listeners, you can find out more on the information portion of this segment. And again, Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
I'd like to thank my producer, Mark Winter, for making me and my guests sound great. I would like to thank my crew for testing all of the wonderful products that are on Best Bets for Pets. They really enjoyed testing the PetDek. They do like car trips, and they liked it much more with the PetDek. Really made a difference. Listeners, you can find out more, as I mentioned, on Pet Life Radio at Best Bets for Pets. There'll be information for this section of the segment, which will also link back to PetDek.com. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Tim Link, animal communicator and pet expert and host of Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Have you ever wanted to know what your pet is really thinking? Do you want to find out if they truly understand what you're trying to tell them? Ever wish you could build a better understanding and closer relationship with your pet? Well, now you can. Learning to communicate with animals is a 4-part on-demand workshop. In the workshop, you'll learn the essential techniques that are necessary to communicate with animals, including what is animal communication, breathing correctly to achieve the perfect state to communicate with your animals at a deeper level, using guided meditation exercises and method to communicate with animals, and how to send and receive information from your animals. So if you're wanting to learn how to communicate and connect with your animals at a deeper level, visit PetLifeRadio.com/workshop and purchase and download Learning to Communicate with Animals. You'll be glad you did.
I Love My Pets, the new single by Mark Winter, available on iTunes.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's All Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. All Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand. This is the place for a special paparazzi treat. Only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Well, this is especially for all of the cat lovers that listen to Best Bets for Pets. What do you do when that litter box stinks and you can't throw it out? Or you're living in a high-rise and there's just limited access to getting that trash out? I'd like to introduce Chikacko Harada. She is the Senior Brand Manager of Litter Genie. Welcome, Chikacko.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so excited about this because, you know, on Best Bets for Pets, we generally seem to have a lot of dog products, and I have a lot of cat lovers. I have a cat on my staff who fills the litter box a lot. And that's the big problem. If you can't get rid of the stuff in the litter box, if you don't have easy access to trash, if you're in a larger apartment, you can't just walk outside, it's difficult. So that's what the Litter Genie does, basically. It helps with the getting rid of the mess in the litter box. But can you explain better than I what it does?
Sure, absolutely. So we actually started out making diaper genies, and we've been doing that for over 20 years. And, you know, one of the things that, like you said, we've been hearing recently is with people with cats, the odor that the litter box creates is very unpleasant and very, very strong. So we started to look at, well, maybe there's an opportunity for Diaper Genie to go into the pet household and help with the litter box solution. So what we do is we make the litter maintenance very easy by putting the Litter Genie system unit next to the litter box. All you have to do is whenever the cat goes and there's a clump or a poop that the cat leaves behind, you would just scoop it inside the Litter Genie, and then you can, if you have one cat, you can, keep the scooping for about up to 2 weeks, and then when it's full, you empty it and bring it to the outside trash. So now that daily routine of going to the outside trash to dispose of the clumps is gone. You only have to do it once every 2 weeks, or if you want to do it when the trash day comes, once a week, it's, much more tolerable, so because you don't have to do it every day. And then the refill bag is a special 5-layer bag that one of the layers is an odor barrier layer. So it will work in keeping the odors at bay for 2 weeks. So it won't stink up your house.
Well, I think this is another case of taking something that's been used for something else for so long and just saying, hey, why not making an adaptation? Because, from diaper to litter, it's kind of the same thing, So it's a great idea. Now, I tried it. I thought, okay, I don't know. My cat's huge. He's an eater. Most cats just nibble. This guy chows down. And he uses a litter box a lot. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try for, a week, see how this works. And I was pretty amazed. I don't know that he would be able to go 2 weeks because, like I said, he's an eater. But it was really nice to not have to also, besides keeping the odor, not having to drag the whole litter box outside and, remove everything and do the whole, cleaning bit. Like you said, the litter maintenance made it much easier. And I can also see this being easier for people if they have someone, taking care of their animal or someone that's maybe has some disability, can't move the litter box themselves, because this is something that's really simple to do. And it really minimizes having to make the litter box cleanup into a whole major ordeal.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Now, what are some of the comments you've heard from people using the Litter Genie?
We've heard great comments. We've had people that say, amazing product. I wish I thought about it. And some people also, to your point about, if they're disabled or because they live in a high rise and, they would have to go down, flights of stairs to do the daily litter routine. That Litter Genie, because it takes that, daily trip to the outside trash away from the litter maintenance, it's become a lifesaver for them. We actually have one person, even within our company, that she had a kitten and, she has a very sensitive nose. So she can immediately smell the litter box, when she comes home, and she's very busy, and, keeping that clean was a hardship for her. And, living in an apartment didn't make it any easier. And when she was introduced to Litter Genie, she said it saved the cat's life, because otherwise she was at the wit's end of trying to kind of take care of the litter box. And now it's so much easier, and she almost said she kind of enjoys it. She can hear when the cat goes to do the duty in the litter box. She can hear that happen, and immediately she's like, okay, get the scoop. It's almost not a chore anymore. It sounds funny, but it could be almost fun now.
I can imagine you could probably use Litter Genie and just scoop away the mess for quite a while before you had to do, say, a major cleaning of the litter box. Do you have any recommendations on how long? I know what I'm saying is I know you can get the clumps out, put it in the Litter Genie, and do that continuously for, I don't know, maybe a few weeks, couple months before, and just sprinkle a little bit new litter on top.
Right. Yeah, I think, it depends on the different households and how many cats are in a household and how many cats share one litter box. So, I don't know if, I can recommend like a general rule of thumb or a routine for people, but, we know that what we've heard actually from a lot of, cat owners is they do like to kind of refresh their entire litter box once a month. And so, while keeping it clean more often allows you to not have to do that longer. They, talk about taking the entire litter box, litter and putting in fresh new litter once a month. But I think, again, it will depend on number of cats and, again, how big they are. And also if 2 or 3 cats share one litter box, it might be a little bit different too.
Right. I could see that. I guess it's just a subjective time, but that it'll definitely cut down cleaning of the litter box and lengthen the time period.
Yeah. So we started researching Litter Genie, and we were talking to a lot of cat households. We heard a couple of people really hated the task of emptying the litter box, so much so that they would, not just, scoop daily or every other day, but they would wait maybe 3-4 days or even a week. And then their habit was that they would just empty out the entire litter box and put fresh new litter in, which is very wasteful. And, litter is heavy and cumbersome. So, if you do scoop more often, you are able to keep the litter longer and be a little bit more environmental, right, let's say, with the litters, because you're not, keep switching the entire box so often. So, again, Litter Genie, I think, helps to make that, everyday maintenance so much easier, that instead of, doing that routine of waiting once a week or a couple of days and switching out the entire box, it allows you to scoop every day.
And it's probably more cost effective because you're not using as much litter.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Now, let's get into that. How much is Litter Genie and where can my cat lovers out there find Litter Genie?
Yeah, Litter Genie is in many pet stores, so it's nationwide, Petco, PetSmart. It's also available at Target and Amazon. So at Target, you can get one for $15, which is very reasonable. And given that it makes the litter routine so much easier, we've really heard people be surprised about how economical and reasonable it's priced. Refills that works with the Litter Genie are also available at all the retailers that I just mentioned.
Where else can people find out more online about Litter Genie? Do you have a website for Litter Genie?
Absolutely. The website is littergenie.com, and we have some product information as well as some fun videos and coupons and special offers.
Oh, that's wonderful. Listeners, you can also find out more on the episode section of this segment for Litter Genie. There'll be a picture of Litter Genie and a link to the site. Chikacko, thank you so much for coming on Best Bets for Pets and telling my guests, especially all the cat lovers out there, all about Litter Genie.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for having me.
So I'd like to thank my crew, especially Mr. Dennis, who tested out the Litter Genie. He did a great job of using his litter box, and the Litter Genie, wow, works fantastic. I'd also like to thank my producer, Mark Winter, for making me and my guests sound great. You can find out more on PetLifeRadio.com, Best Bets for Pets.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.